Today we find out whether I prefer sealed or ported for this KICKER Comp Gold subwoofer. Let's take a deep dive. In a previous video, I unboxed and did a detailed video review of this KICKER Comp Gold subwoofer, which is a 50th anniversary gold letter edition, very cool subwoofer. But then KICKER reached out to me and said, what about trying it in a sealed box? So I was like, all right, let's try ported versus sealed. And the previous video, mainly I showed the ported version, but today we're going to just try both and see which one I think is better. In the looks department, there is no doubt this Gately Audio acrylic enclosure is sweet and definitely looks better than the sealed one we're going to show off. The Gately enclosure is around 2 cubic feet, which fits right in the middle of the recommended vented enclosure 1.75 to 2.25 by KICKER. It's also tuned to 32.7 Hertz as I showed in the previous video. Of course, the coolest thing about the acrylic enclosure other than the looks is being able to see all different sides of the subwoofer. You can see the spider, you can see the whole woofer flexing from the inside and out, just something that you will not be able to see in this other sealed enclosure. But anyway, moving on to the sealed enclosure, pick this up off of Amazon. It's by NVX. It's a 12-inch, 3/4 inch thick, 1.3 cubic foot MDF enclosure. It's around $80. I'll leave a link in the video description. This box fit in the requirements for KICKER. They require between 1 and 2 cubic feet for sealed. This is being 1.3. And the fact it's already made saves me time. I don't have to carpet a box, so this is just great for all of us. Now, I did drill holes here to put the subwoofer into the box, and I found these gold screws, which look super cool with this gold letter subwoofer. So I know y'all are jealous, but just deal with it because it's fat and you like it.
This is not a Mickey Mouse program!
Right off the comparison between the two subwoofer boxes, you can notice the sealed enclosure is much smaller and would be much easier to fit in most vehicles. Now, we did run both of these subwoofers for a day or so, powering them low to medium power to break them in properly. For the test we're going to do some extended test here with both subwoofers. Going to do some music playback. We're also going to do some SPL test. Leave a comment below about what you think about SPL of this subwoofer and what it may get, knowing this is really a sound quality subwoofer, not an SPL woofer. It'll still be interesting to see and also interesting to compare sealed versus ported. The subwoofers are dual 4-ohm subwoofers, will be wired in parallel for the test. For the in-vehicle test, we're going to use a Down for Sound JP8 amplifier. Check a link in the video description. I'll show you the video of this amplifier, also in a link to purchase one if you're interested. Also, we're going to use the 1937 Ford. Use the trunk, which is not very large. However, it provides an interesting vehicle for us to try this test. First up, the sealed box flex test. That's right, after we broke in the sub, let's put it in the vehicle here, and we'll run the speaker wire back to the amplifier. And then let's go ahead and try some music. I'm gonna talk over it here for a little bit because I've got some copyrighted songs we're playing. You can definitely tell the woofer's got some flex to it. Now let's play some real music and let you hear what it sounds like. Any rattling you may have heard was the trunk. Now let's try the SPL test for the seal box. Although I say it every time, people still ask. This is not just an app on the phone. There's a wireless meter down there, Bluetooth into the phone, and the meter is what measures the dB, not the phone itself. Now let's try a 35 Hertz tone with the seal box, see how it does. Okay, so almost a 120, a 119.84. According to the meter, we actually ran it again and got a 125.16, so considerably more. 638 watts at 3.2 ohms. Next up, we'll try 40 hertz. Here we go. $127.51 dB, right at 41 hertz. As far as power goes, 540 watts, 3.8 ohms. Now let's move to the 45 hertz tone. Get ready. Here we got 128 dB, right at 45 hertz. As far as the power goes, 433 watts at 4.5 ohms. Bump it up a little bit higher to 50 hertz for the sealed box. Now this is interesting for those who don't know. 130.71 dB, so it's higher, but look at the power, 301 watts at 6.3 ohms. Here are all the results of the tests we just showed. If you want to pause this, you can see those individually. I will show these again when we show the comparison of the ported enclosure. Speaking of ported enclosure, let's move out the sealed, put in the ported enclosure, and there's no fish swimming around. This is just acrylic with a turn sideways woofer. And even though that battery is ugly in the corner, we power this thing up with them blue lights. Yeah, boy. You know that looks nice? That's right. All right, let's try a little flex with the ported box. Here we go. Flexing as I'm talking. Yes, this thing lit up just is mind-blowing. Let's get some real music. Time to move on to the SPL test for the ported box. With the Gately ported 12-inch box for the KICKER gold letter, we're peaking at 49 hertz. So again, we're going to try 35, 40, and 45 hertz to see what kind of SPL we get using the SSA app and the wireless meter, which is down here in the kick. All right, ported box. Let's try 35 hertz, see how much SPL we get. Lots of rattling going on. We got 126.55 for this test, but we actually ran it again and got a 130.12, and power-wise, 787 watts, 3.1 ohms. Let's move to the 40 hertz test with the ported enclosure. Again, this is a sound quality subwoofer, so not too bad. 132.66 at 40 hertz, 704 watts at 3.2 ohms. Bump it up to 45 hertz, see what we get. All right, a 133.12 at 45 hertz. And as far as power goes, just like before, it's going down a little bit, 576 at 4 ohms. Now for the last test, let's go up to 50 hertz with the ported enclosure. All right, the highest number yet, 134.56 at 50 hertz and 346 watts at 6.1 ohms. Once again, all the results are here. You can pause it if you want to see any specific frequency and see the power level and the SPL and all that. Now, as a comparison, I'll show both here, sealed and ported, and you'll notice ported enclosure is between 4 and 5 dB louder than the sealed enclosure. So what does that mean? Does that mean ported is better? Well, let's talk about it. Let's see which one I think is better in this situation. First off, the ported enclosure needs a larger box. The box is more expensive and complex. The bass is louder yet less controlled. It is more efficient. It has more SPL, and it's better for rap, rock, pop type music with electronic bass. Now, what about the sealed enclosure? It's a smaller enclosure, very simple. The bass is controlled and punchy. It is less efficient, has less SPL output. I would say it's best for jazz, classical, and country, but it's also, in my opinion, best for sound quality and overall. Now, why would I not choose the woofer that made the most SPL as the one I would choose in this case? Well, honestly, I would pick the sealed enclosure in this case just because the type music I was listening to, the demos I gave, the quality of the bass was definitely more controlled, more dynamic with the sealed enclosure. The port enclosure was louder, there is no doubt about it, but you could tell it was not as controlled. The bass was more sloppy, but you know, it's a personal preference thing. So you may like the ported enclosure in this case. I like the sealed enclosure in this case. It's really nice. The woofer works in both situations. So just choose which one works better for you. So thanks again for watching. Until next time, Big D, I'm out of here. Now, when I demoed these subwoofers myself, I played dozens of songs, but here is a sampling of some of the songs I played, ranging from jazz to rock to pop to rap to everything. So just give you an idea of what I listen to.
You know how them sound waves go?